You're watching Netrush Report, your home for tennis drama, rivalries, and the stories that define champions. Let's get into it. When Boris Becker opens up, the tennis world listens. The six-time Grand Slam champion has lived enough lifetimes for 10 men: prodigy, legend, convict, coach, and now, soon-to-be father again. But in a new interview, Becker revealed something rare, that he once came close to coaching Jannik Sinner and turned him down. Yes, the same Sinner who now sits atop the tennis world as world number one. The same Sinner whose composure, power, and quiet intensity have made him the face of the sport's new generation. Becker admitted that years ago, when Sinner was still rising, there was a conversation, one that could have changed both of their careers. "I did talk to Jannik," Becker said in a revealing interview with Corriere della Sera. "But at that time, I was waiting for the verdict of my bankruptcy case in London. My future was uncertain. I couldn't commit to anyone, especially a player like him." It's one of those what-if moments that tennis loves. Becker, the fiery tactician who transformed Novak Djokovic's mental game, coaching the calm, calculated Jannik Sinner? The pairing almost sounds poetic, the fire and the ice of tennis united. But Becker didn't just step aside. He offered guidance. "I suggested other names," Becker said, "including Darren Cahill." That advice turned out to be gold. Under Cahill and Simone Vagnozzi, Sinner rose to the top of world tennis, capturing 4 Grand Slam titles and rewriting Italy's sporting history. And now, with Darren Cahill stepping down at the end of the season, many wondered, could Becker finally join Team Sinner? Becker's answer was clear. "No," he said firmly. Jannik Sinner's team's success speaks for itself. It wasn't bitterness or regret. It was admiration, the kind that only a true competitor can give. Becker praised not only Cahill but also Simone Vagnozzi, Sinner's longtime Italian coach, for their chemistry and shared discipline. "Simone and Darren have built something special," Becker said. "They understand Jannik perfectly. You don't break something that's working so well." Becker knows the value of good coaching chemistry. During his time mentoring Novak Djokovic from 2013 to 2016, the Serb won 6 Grand Slam titles and developed an unmatched mental toughness. But Becker's coaching approach wasn't just about strategy. It was about identity. He believes every champion needs the right balance between aggression and calm, between instinct and discipline. In that sense, Sinner doesn't need Becker. He's already found that balance. But what makes this story even more poignant is the timing. Becker is entering a new chapter in life, one that's deeply personal. His wife, Lilian de Carvalho Montero, is pregnant with their first child together. For Becker, who already has 4 children from previous relationships, this feels like a rebirth, a chance to redefine himself away from the courtroom headlines and back into a more grounded, family-centered existence. "I'm grateful," Becker shared recently. "At this stage of my life, to become a father again, it's a blessing." That sense of gratitude colors everything Becker says now, even his reflections on tennis. He's not chasing another coaching project or title run. He's rediscovering meaning, both as a mentor and as a man. Still, the idea of Becker and Sinner together remains fascinating. On paper, it's a dream scenario, a German legend guiding Italy's first ever world number one. 2 different generations, united by a shared intensity. But Becker knows that coaching at that level is not just a part-time job. It's a full emotional investment, one he isn't ready for right now. "I've learned that to coach someone properly, you must give everything," Becker said. "Every hour, every thought, every emotion. I can't do that right now. My family needs me." It's a remarkably honest statement from a man who has often lived life at full throttle. Meanwhile, Jannik Sinner continues his historic rise. He's currently in contention for his 6th Masters 1000 title at the 2025 Paris Masters, where he's set to face Felix Auger-Aliassime in the championship match. That it's a showdown between 2 next-gen stars who've both faced the weight of expectation and who now stand on the edge of greatness. Sinner's progress has been nothing short of meteoric. In just a few seasons, he's gone from being a promising junior to one of the sport's most dominant forces. His calm demeanor hides a ruthless competitiveness that rivals the greats, and that's what Becker admires most. "What I love about Jannik," Becker said, "is how mature he is. He doesn't need to shout. He doesn't need drama. He just plays and wins." It's a quality Becker recognizes as essential to long-term greatness. In his view, true champions aren't just talented, they're emotionally stable, adaptable, and humble enough to keep improving even when they're on top. And Sinner fits that mold perfectly. He reminds me of Djokovic in some ways, Becker admitted. Different personality, of course, but the same discipline, the same hunger to improve. That's high praise from a man who's seen greatness up close. Becker also spoke about the broader evolution of tennis, how the new generation, led by Sinner, Carlos Alcaraz, and Holger Rune, has redefined the sport's tempo and mindset. Tennis is faster now, Becker noted. Players hit harder, move quicker, recover faster. But what impresses me is how mentally strong they are at such a young age. Jannik especially. He's learned to handle pressure that even older champions struggle with. Indeed, Sinner's ability to stay composed under the brightest lights, from Grand Slam finals to Davis Cup heroics, has earned him universal respect. Even when facing elite opponents like Alcaraz, Medvedev, or Zverev, Sinner never seems rattled. His poker-faced calmness has become his signature, a stark contrast to Becker's own emotional intensity as a player. But maybe that's why Becker admires him so much. Sinner represents a kind of modern champion Becker never got to be. Calculated, consistent, quietly brilliant. And while Becker once thrived on adrenaline and fire, today, he seems to find beauty in control. Of course, Becker's name still carries both admiration and controversy. His fall from grace, including his 2022 conviction for bankruptcy-related fraud, was one of the most shocking moments in modern sports history. He served time in a British prison before being released in late 2022. But instead of retreating from the spotlight, Becker rebuilt himself piece by piece. First as a TV analyst, then as a mentor for Holger Rune, and now, as a soon-to-be father again. That redemption arc has softened public perception. The same fans who once criticized him for arrogance now see a man who has weathered the storm, humbled but still deeply passionate about tennis. His respect for Sinner is part of that transformation. There's no jealousy, no "I could have made him better" attitude, just admiration for a player who's doing everything right. "I don't need to coach Jannik to be proud of him," Becker said. "He's representing tennis beautifully. That's enough." It's a graceful sentiment from a man who once defined tennis swagger. For Sinner, the endorsement from Becker, one of Germany's greatest athletes, adds to his growing global respect. The Italian has become not just a player, but a role model. Disciplined, polite, and relentlessly excellent. Even his rivals speak of him with a mix of admiration and unease. Alcaraz calls him a machine. Djokovic calls him a future legend. And Becker? He calls him a complete player. He has everything. The serve, the movement, the attitude, Becker said. But most importantly, he has time. And that's the most valuable thing in tennis. Coming from a man who won Wimbledon before he was legally an adult, that's saying something. Still, there's an emotional undertone to Becker's words, as if he sees in Sinner the kind of legacy he once dreamed of continuing through coaching in a different timeline. Perhaps Becker and Sinner would have joined forces, merging the past and future of tennis in a single dynamic partnership. But in reality, Becker's journey has taken him elsewhere, toward peace, family, and a quieter form of fulfillment. And maybe that's the true lesson of this story, because while Jannik Sinner climbs higher, chasing records and rewriting history, Boris Becker is learning that legacy isn't just about trophies. It's about growth, resilience, and knowing when to pass the torch. In the end, Becker's reflection is both humble and hopeful. "I've made mistakes," he admitted, "but life goes on. I love this sport, I love the next generation, and I'm happy to see them thrive. That's enough for me now." As the Paris Masters final approaches, all eyes are on Sinner, the calm prodigy who might soon lift another major trophy. But somewhere, perhaps from the comfort of a quieter home, Boris Becker will be watching, proud not as a coach, but as a believer in what the next generation can do. From prodigy to mentor to father again, Boris Becker's story proves that even legends can find new meaning beyond the court. And as Jannik Sinner continues to dominate, one thing is clear. Tennis is in good hands. You're watching Netrush Report, where we bring you the drama, emotion, and evolution of the sport we love. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more stories that define champions.